Canada is in the middle of a consumer debt crisis. According to the latest data from Equifax, total consumer debt in Canada has roughly climbed to $2.62 trillion, and that number is up about 3.5% year over year. But the real issue isn't the total, it's where that debt sits. Nearly $1.9 trillion of it is in mortgages, and that means close to 75% of all household debt in Canada is tied directly to housing. And that matters because when mortgage stress rises, it never stays contained. It leaks outward and it bleeds into credit cards, personal loans, lines of credit, spending behavior, and eventually the broader economy. And that's exactly what the data is showing us right now. Equifax calls this moment the Great Mortgage Standoff, and that phrase perfectly describes what's happening on the ground here in Vancouver. Mortgage balances are still growing, average mortgage sizes are near record highs, but new mortgage originations are falling. People aren't moving, they're not upgrading, they're not downsizing, and they're not shopping renewals the way that they used to. Households are frozen in place. Sellers don't want to cut prices, and buyers can't qualify at current rates. Over 1 million Canadians renew their mortgage every single year. Many of those renewals are rolling from rates in the low 2% to even high 1% into the 3 or 4% range. Even with rate cuts, renewal rates remain dramatically higher than what people locked in before 2022. At the same time, wages have not kept up with the cost of living, and that creates payment shock. Not always defaults, but pressure. Hundreds of dollars a month and sometimes thousands, especially in Vancouver, where mortgage balances are some of the largest in the entire country. One of the most important things to understand is that the stress doesn't show up immediately in mortgage defaults. The Equifax data is very clear on this. When households renew at much higher mortgage payments, they don't stop paying the mortgage first. They miss credit card payments, they miss personal loans, they stretch everything else to protect the roof over their head. And that's why we're seeing non-mortgage delinquencies rising quickly even while mortgage delinquency rates remain relatively low. And that's why we're seeing non-mortgage delinquencies rising very quickly across Canada. And trends matter more than headlines. Right now, Ontario and British Columbia are driving rising mortgage delinquencies even as other provinces stabilize. That makes sense. This is where home prices are highest, this is where mortgage balances are the largest, and this is where payment shock hits the hardest. This stress is not evenly distributed. Delinquencies are concentrated in high-value mortgages, especially newer ones. Mortgages taken out in 2022, 2023, 2024, and even this year are going delinquent faster than older vintages. These are not marginal borrowers. These are often higher income households with large mortgages purchased near peak pricing, which now face higher payments in a weaker economic environment. And this is where I want to slow everyone down and shift the conversation from fear to strategy, because this data does not mean panic, it means preparation. For buyers watching this is exactly why patience matters right now. Distress doesn't show up as a headline crash, it shows up quietly. It shows up as listings that sit, price reductions that happen off market, and sellers who need certainty more than they need top dollar. People exiting investments and people consolidating debt, and those who simply need to move on. The best value in Vancouver is rarely obvious at the start. It appears over time, and it rewards buyers who are prepared, patient, and paying attention. This is not a market to rush into. This is a market to study, track, and act decisively when the right opportunity appears. For sellers, especially those feeling pressure, there are proactive steps that matter far more than waiting and hoping. If you're in a tough position, the worst move is inaction. Consolidating debt matters. Reviewing your mortgage before renewal matters, and renewing earlier can matter. Switching from a variable with a poor discount to a fixed rate is something that I just did personally, as I moved into a fixed rate at 3.5% with Scotiabank, and it saved me over $300 a month. Most times, people think that you have to wait within a month to renew. I did this 20 months before my renewal. So it's really important to continue to have those conversations with your lender, with your realtor, to understand what's happening in the mortgage environment. Because if you can make a change, especially if you have a bad discount, my principal resident discount was only 0.2%. So depending on where you're at, and for those who don't know, in most cases, you can switch from a variable to a fixed with no penalty. Wanting to go fixed to variable, there will be a penalty with that, so keep that in mind. but you don't need to wait right until the end for your renewal. Continue that conversation within 2 years to see what your best rate is. For me, I was trying to get Scotia to give me about a 3.9% rate, but as things change, which they have in this economy, I continued to wait and be patient, and that's why I was able to be successful with that 3.55 fixed rates. The bond market has moved up, so I doubt Scotia is actually offering that anymore, but make sure that you're asking those questions, because when you can save that monthly rate, that's real cash flow, and that gives you that breathing room, and that breathing room is everything in an environment like this if you are pressure packed. And if you are over leveraged, strategy matters more than emotion as well. Selling a principal residence and moving into one of your rental properties can allow you to reduce debt without triggering capital gains. That is not a decision to rush, but it's a decision to understand. Smart restructuring beats forced decisions every single time, and this is the broader message that matters for both buyers and sellers right now. This is not the time to take on more leverage. This is not the time to stretch. This is not the time to assume easy money is coming back quickly, because the data just does not support that. Canada's household debt to income ratio peaked around 174%, and that means households owed $1.74 for every dollar of disposable income. That is higher than the United States at the peak of their 2008 housing bubble. The difference is that the US spent years deleveraging afterward, while Canadians did not. Globally, household debt has been trending downward since the financial crisis. In Canada, household debt now sits around 100% of GDP, just when it looked like Canadians might finally be deleveraging. That progress reversed. That tells us something important. Growth through debt is no longer available the way it was. That means households need to be defensive before they can be offensive again. Paying down debt matters. Downsizing your vehicle payment and reducing fixed monthly obligations matters in this environment. Not because things are collapsing, but because the margin for error is smaller. This is likely a longer adjustment, not a quick one. There is no easy fix coming, and the people who struggle the most are not the ones who acknowledge the reality early. They're the ones who ignore it and get pinched later. And this is not a message of fear, this is a message of control. Understanding the data allows you to act instead of react. Buyers who wait and prepare will be rewarded, and sellers who are realistic and proactive will preserve leverage. Households that focus on stability now will be in a far stronger position when the next growth cycle eventually arrives. And that's how you move through a market like Vancouver calmly, intelligently, and without regret. And if you are needing help, whether you're looking to possibly buy or sell, make sure you book in that call with me. You can scan the QR code in the banner, or book a call in the link in the description as well. And make sure you're downloading my home buyer and seller blueprints as well. It is in the description. Thanks again for your time, and I'll see you on the next one.